Welcome everybody to the AZ Lax Report. I'm your host, Bryan Patillo, and today we have the return of Alex Garwood as my co-host. It's a little bit of an overcast Sunday here in Arizona. I don't know what's been going on in this weather, Alex. We haven't had as much sun as I'd like out here, but we are here today still to give you the latest and greatest lacrosse content in State 48. And just like last time, we've partnered with beagoodhumancoffee.com. Be a good human, live bravely, and love fiercely. Check out their website for coffee, tea, and merch, where 100% of the profits go to the Fight Like Flow Foundation and support pediatric cancer research. Alex, it's been 2 weeks since we last talked, and I think you've been traveling the country a little bit. What have you been up to?
That's right. Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, we went to Kentucky to do the Bourbon Trail for my 30th. That was a great time with some family and friends, and toured, 7 distilleries in 3 days. We walked through, rick houses that have been around since the 1800s, and caught some of the setup for the 150th Kentucky Derby. There were, horses and, the numbers 150 and roses like all over the place. So it was a really cool thing to witness firsthand. I'd never been to Kentucky before, so it was cool to see kind of the motherland of American whiskey and bourbon. So very, very cool there. And then this past weekend was my wife and I's 6-year wedding anniversary. So we, took the baby up to Pine Top at an Airbnb, did Tonto State Park, had some good food. We had a hot tub, and it snowed last night, actually. So we were doing a little bit of a morning hot tub with, snow everywhere. So it was cool that you could get, out to some elevation and see some snow. And it only took us, like an hour and a half to get out there. So, yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, that's nice. I've never done the all of those Kentucky places. I have visited the Jack Daniel's distillery before. That was my first foray to a whiskey type experience over there. So definitely must have been a cool thing there for you and your family. And the Pine Top area is really nice as well. Been up there a few times, and yeah, man, catching snow. It's been raining, and I've been complaining. We definitely have not had as much sun as I would like out here. It's been kind of cloudy.
Yeah, no kidding. And back in the day, 10 years ago, or I guess even longer than that, 14 years ago, geez, when I was, practicing in Washington State, I could probably count, the number of fingers on my hand, the amount of sunny day practices that we had in the spring. So, when you kind of put that into perspective, it's we're kind of spoiled here with the amount of sunny practices we do have. So.
Yeah, and I think I just saw this yesterday. I think there was a Long Island University game, and I don't know if they were at Siena or something. I'm trying to look at that, but it was they were playing like a snowstorm. Yeah, they had the whole snow coming down and everything.
Crazy.
So these kids out here, they don't know what that's like. But anyway, why don't we jump into the lacrosse? We've got a lot to catch up on. For those of you who were able to catch our episode last week, we had a little bonus episode of Alex out of town. It was myself, my brother Cody, who's a coach at GCU. We also had Pat Harbison join us for a little roundtable kind of discussion. Talk about some stuff within the league, growth of the league. Had some fun towards the end with an old highlight film circa 2007, which was kind of a little time capsule blast from the past. But we got some interesting feedback on that one, and definitely if, we want to be an advocate and a voice for kind of growth of lacrosse out here. So we do love the feedback, and if people have thoughts or questions or things that we should talk about or have thoughts about growth and things that we can do to kind of help facilitate that, please feel free to comment on our Instagram page, on our YouTube page, or send us a message, because I think we sparked some conversation with that, and we'd like to keep that going. And definitely as we get to the end of the ALL season and into the off season, think about some things with that. So with that said, let's run into the games. We had a return to ALL action this week with all of the teams playing. Before we get into that, let's start Monday, March 18th. We actually had one more out-of-state game, again for Brophy. In this case, they take on California-based Foothill School, Foothill Santa Ana, I think is the full name, with a 10-8 victory. And this was good. I think we mentioned last week, Brophy did lose 2 out-of-state games to some tough competition from California there and Dallas. This was a good battle against the number 6 team in the USA West Region lacrosse rankings. Deion James, battling at the face-off X, had a really tough opponent, helped keep them in a competitive range there. Just a good overall team effort from Brophy with the defense and with the team kind of bouncing back with their wins. They're actually ranked number 9 currently in the USA Lacrosse West Region rankings, so good representation from Arizona Lacrosse with Brophy with that victory and getting some recognition in the region.
Definitely. Tuesday, Brophy V2 beats Cactus Shadows 7-6. Good old Brady Blatzel holding it down in cage with a 60% save percentage. Sal Point gets their first win as a program returning against NDP V2 9-6. Arcadia beats Scottsdale 10-6. Luke Mellon and Kyle Lambeth led the way there with 4 points apiece en route to their win. NDP beats Boulder Creek in a pretty high-scoring game for both of these teams. Both good goalies. The offense kind of shined and led the way for both. Clancy Brocius had 6 goals and, just kind of unable to match that balanced NDP offense with, 3 points coming from 5 different players and a standout performance from Caleb Casey with 15 ground balls, a goal, and 5 assists. So it's kind of an all-around performance there.
Yeah, nice game there for him. And ALL action continued on Thursday. Corona beats NDP Varsity 2 11-1. Corona continuing their season under first-year head coach PJ Rovinelli. We're going to have a chance to talk with him in a later episode, so we're excited to hear about him stepping into that program and what the team's done over there. So congrats to Corona. And we concluded the week on Friday with a Brophy Varsity 2 shutout victory over South Point, 14-0. Brady Blatzel with an 11-save shutout for Brophy, so want to give the goalies the credit. You know me, I like to recognize my goalies there. But also an 8-point performance from Brady Step, leading to that dominating win. Later, we also had Desert Vista defeat Boulder Creek 10-7. Diggy, very, very talented goalie, continuing his stellar play in net there with 12 saves and a 63% save percentage on there. Boulder Creek head coach Chad Tolliver is going to be another guest we've got lined up for a future episode, so if you're interested in hearing him, you'll get a chance to do that coming up. And then the big matchup for the week. I think everyone was kind of talking about this one here. At the time, 2 undefeated in-state teams. Brophy takes on Notre Dame Prep and walks away with a commanding 18-5 victory. So maybe a little bit more lopsided than people thought. Really strong defensive game from Brophy in that. Defenseman Charlie McGinnis really helped kind of secure that back end, covering Cooper Perry and talented players there for Notre Dame Prep. Noah Burdick, also strong defensive performance. He also had 6 ground balls, 1 goal, and 1 assist. We actually will hear from Noah on our player interview later, so excited to hear his take on the season, and you get to hear a little background from Noah. And then, of course, the goalie, Ryan Peitzmeyer, backstopping a strong defense there. And then also Deion James, who's been continuing to be pretty dominant at the faceoff X. I think their team faceoff wins was 19, while Laird Miller had 6 goals pacing the offense. So pretty strong statement performance by Brophy, to be quite honest with you, coming across the only other undefeated team. Now, they will have to play them, I think, in 2 weeks, so we'll definitely keep our eyes on that matchup. I think throughout the ALL, we've seen some definitely different scores of games from 1 week to the next when we've had rematches. I think most recent just coming to mind when Perry beat Brophy last season in the regular season, but then Brophy ended up winning in the state championship. So you never know what happens when you get on the field. and that'll be a game in the future we're looking forward to. But good to see everybody back in action after a little bit of a spring break week. Alex, why don't you tell us where we're at with our lax number standings?
Yeah, definitely. So kind of the way that lax numbers works is a sort of calculation to give each team a rating. So with in-state ratings, they kind of keep Arizona in its own little sandbox, so it only calculates the results between teams played in-state. So at number 1, there's Brophy with a 99.99 ranking, as they do have an undefeated rating in the state of Arizona. Coming in at number 2 is Notre Dame Prep. They show a undefeated record on lax numbers as well, as the site does get updated on Monday. So look to our social media pages for the updated results as they come in tomorrow. They have a 95.58 ranking. Number 3, Perry Pumas, 4-3 in-state record and a 93.4 ranking. Arcadia with a 4-1 record in state and a 93 ranking at number 4. Number 5, we have Boulder Creek, 1-4 in state, with a 92.68 ranking. Number 6, Pinnacle with a 3-4 record and a 92.3 ranking. Desert Vista, 3-4 as well, 92.04. So just kind of splitting the hairs between 6 and 7 there. Number 8, Scottsdale, 1-4 record, 88 rating. And Oro Valley at number 9, 2-3 overall in the season and an 87.5. Number 10, rounding out our top 10, is Corona del Sol, 3-2 record and an 87.4 rating. Bryan, what are your thoughts on lax numbers, the calculations, and sort of what that means for the teams in different conferences? Because you might have listeners confused seeing a 1-4 team at the 5 spot with a rating of 92.6. What kind of goes into that?
we're gonna make sure we keep addressing this as we go on, because we want to make sure everyone is understanding what's going in as we get closer now to that playoff setting. So just to remind everybody, there's a 12-team playoff. The 12th position will go to the top team in the Cactus Conference that will be ranked differently, but essentially by kinds of wins and losses. But the reason we're doing this ranking here with these lax numbers is this is going to take into effect strength of schedule. So even if your win-loss record doesn't necessarily change from week to week, if another team's win-loss record changes, that is a team you played against already. For example, if you had beat somebody and then they continue to get more wins, you're actually going to end up getting more points for that victory when they go back and recalculate everything. So it's a little bit fluid. We're a little more than halfway, I think, for the overall in-state games here for some of these teams. And as we get closer to the end, we'll continue to see some fluctuation there. So the wins and losses contribute to your rating, but at the end of the day, rating is going to also take into account strength of schedule, and that will continue to balance out as the season goes on here. And as you mentioned, Alex, also, we know the timing of our podcast here coming out on Sunday nights is a little difficult because we're reporting on most recent results, and then we recognize that these rankings don't get updated until Monday morning. But I think stay tuned to our Instagram page. We're going to start sending that out on Monday, a post of the latest rankings, and we could definitely get everybody's feedback on them too.
Definitely. Let's take a look at current stat leaders in state. So, and keep in mind, this is also, constantly being updated. So if, these stats don't seem correct to you, make sure you're bugging your head coach to go ahead and get those inputted online.
Exactly.
But right now for goals, we have number 1, Clancy Brosius with 25, Luke Mellon with 22, and Dylan Rarden with 22. On assists, we have Cooper Perry with 18, Max Wagner with 14, and Grayson Kang with 11. Overall points, we have Luke Mellon with 32, Cooper Perry with 32, and Dylan Rardon with 29.
Yeah, excellent. Good offensive performance there. And I'm going to talk about the defense here with our goalie play. Now, slight disclaimer, I know with goalies, when we start talking about things like goals against average and save percentage, we may try to break this down by conference going forward. But right now, let's recognize everybody who's playing and the hard work they're doing there for our goalies. So by save percentage right now, Tommy Charters, 66%. Nathan Bowden, 66%, and Ben Halderman, 64%. So good, strong performance there. Goals against average, similar names here. Tommy Charters, 6 goals against. Nathan Bowden, 6 goals against. And Sam Verpalat, 6.8 goals against. So good goalie play there. Again, we'll probably try to do some conference adjustments to that. I think we've got some really talented goalies. I think essentially all of our all-state goalies, I think, returned this year. So they're up there as well, and we'll make sure we give some recognition to everybody. But definitely want to shout those guys out for the performance that they're doing. And ground balls are key. Everyone says that.
That's right. They win games.
Ground balls win games. We used to have the old Mr. Scoopy Award for whoever had the most ground balls on the team. Levi Shoemaker, 61, Caleb Casey, 60, and Gunnar Klebors, 60. Now, just a reminder, as you said earlier, Alex, we're going by the league website, so we encourage you to remind your coaches to get their points and scores added, statistics, so that we can help report out on that. And also, this will be and again, this is just in-state games as well, too. So just a reminder, we're reporting out on our statistics leaders.
Definitely. We had some great games last week, kind of coming off of spring break, and we look to get back to some ALL action this week. We only have two actual game days this week, Tuesday and Friday. We have Notre Dame Prep versus Pinnacle, Arcadia versus Corona, Perry versus Desert Vista, Cactus and Cactus Shadows, and Higley and NDP Varsity 2, all happening on Tuesday. Brian, who's playing under the lights on Friday?
Friday night lights, Cactus versus Higley, Oro Valley versus Arcadia, and Perry versus Boulder Creek. Now let's just jump back to Tuesday. I'll put you on the spot here, Alex, since you'll be coaching Notre Dame Prep Pinnacle. What are you thinking for that game? How are you guys preparing for it? Get ready for your rematch against them.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 10-8 game the first time we played those guys, and, not to make any excuses, but we did play without, Cam Conti, Chase Morier, and Logan Weiler, 3, starters for us on offense, and luckily we had a really, standout performance from Nick Miller that game, bringing in 6 goals, and, we look to see him get hot again when we play them on Tuesday, and hopefully get some action from those guys that missed out on playing NDP last time. Both goalies played really well last game, so I expect that to continue as well. We get to host them, which is always good to have a home game. But I'm looking forward to a good matchup on Tuesday.
Yeah, it should be a good. Are you guys home for that, or are you over there?
Yep. Yeah, it'll be a home game.
Okay, I may have to make my way up there, be boots on the ground for the AZ Lax Report, and see how that one goes. So we'll see how it works there. Outside the ALL, I know we got like March Madness going on and stuff. Next week, I actually have a buddy coming into town, so he'll be hanging out with me here, watching those Elite Eight games. What have you been up to, and what are you watching?
I'm in the same boat. I'm watching March Madness actually as we speak. GCU's taking on Alabama. So as a GCU alum, it's awesome to see us, represent the WAC in the tournament, and everyone kind of counted us out, being the 12 seed, taking on the 5, but we ended up getting our first NCAA tournament victory as a program since kind of coming into Division I, which, kind of side note, when I was in high school looking to see where I wanted to play, lacrosse at the next level, I wanted to stay, on the West Coast. Had a lot of, opportunities to go back east and play at some competitive D2 and D3s. And at the time, GCU was a competitive NCAA D2 program. The school had aspirations to go Division I. When I was on campus there, we had, maybe like 6,000 kids on campus or something like that, and there's like 20,000 now. So the
Wow.
school's just exploded like crazy. So they made the decision to go Division One, and they decided to not promote lacrosse along with that NCAA transition. So we competed in the MCLA Division One, and it ended up working well for us. We had a lot of support, and we're treated kind of like a varsity program at the school. And being somewhere that doesn't have football, it's kind of like Gonzaga, where basketball kind of steals the show, if you will. So if that's the sport that we're going to focus on, it's good to kind of see those the fruit of the labor starting to come through here. We beat Mount St. Mary's, or I'm sorry, just St. Mary's, I think, on Saturday. On Friday. That was a crazy game. Everyone was going nuts. And then today we're taking on Alabama. So it's 16-17 as of right now in the first quarter. So either we're going to, make history again and take down Alabama as the 12 seed, or, we're going to lose as expected. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely a school that's grown a tremendous amount. The campus over there, really nice. Unfortunately, the Lopes in their MCLA play last night did not have success. I think the final. I was just trying to check the final score there. I know when I was watching the game, they lost. They were losing. I think it was a 12-19 loss over University of Arizona, and it's great though to see that competition of the MCLA schools at the state level. And one of the things that in our podcast last week we talked about was a challenge of next level lacrosse not really being, there's no formal NCAA team out here. And I think what we can do as an organization and, or I should say as a league and a community, is really try to help continue to build the MCLA programs and get people to go watch these GCU games and go watch these ASU games, and maybe some partnerships with some youth programs and things that we were talking about. So a lot, I think, to come on that front. And as I said, if you didn't get to listen to the episode last week, please do. We don't have a coach interview this week, but you did get a double dose of coaches last week. So we think we're being fair to you there. And we did actually, as a result, get to talk to our player interview, Noah Burdick. We mentioned it earlier in the podcast. We got to talk to him for a little bit longer than I think we have some other ones, and I thought we had a really good conversation. He's had a really tremendous individual career here in Arizona, a great team career as part of that Brophy team, and even a little bit of an interesting story with how his commitment to Hofstra ultimately where he'll be playing next year. So hope everybody will enjoy that interview. And for us, we're signing off. Enjoy the interview, and we will talk with everyone next week. Our next guest is a senior long stick midfielder from Brophy College Prep, currently in the middle of a 13-2 season and a commanding 7-0 in-season record after a recent win over Notre Dame Prep. This outstanding player has amassed numerous awards in his career, including 2-time All-State honors, where he was the first player in Arizona history to earn first-team All-State honors as a freshman. In addition, they are currently defending their 2-time state championships with the Brophy Broncos. After this season, he'll be going back to my home on Long Island and playing for the Hofstra Pride, which we're going to talk a lot about as well, too. Welcome to the podcast, Noah Burdick.
Thank you so much for having me and that great introduction.
Awesome. Well, we're super excited to talk to you today, and you guys have been very successful to start the season. You've got a current record of 13-2, and most importantly for Arizona play, you recently had a victory over Notre Dame Prep, which brought you to 7-0. So going right into it, what has been the key drivers to the success this season for your team?
I think one of the big factors this year has definitely been Dion. Dion's been facing off and winning a majority. I believe he's been going about 80% throughout the year, and he's been doing incredible for us. Along with that, our offense has been possessing the ball and just taking a lot better shots this year. And with Ryan Petzmeyer in net, he's been a great goalie. So that's been a lot of the key factors, along with our senior defense, who's just been all around, just overall very good.
That's awesome. You have 11, out of state games on your schedule, and you've played, 8 of them already. By this point, you should have a fairly decent idea on, what you like about them, what you don't like. What's your favorite aspect about playing out of state competition?
I think for me, I really enjoy playing out of state games because I play against or with some of these players that are on my club teams or club teams
Right.
that we play against. So that's definitely an interesting aspect. And I think that the competition is a bit more rigorous, along with the fact that just having more games in general. Obviously, I practice, but I love playing lacrosse. I love playing games. I think that's everybody's favorite part. So I think it's just better to play more games, and that's just a fun thing that we do.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, so those out of state games have been pretty competitive, and you've happened to we know we've talked to Coach Harbison a few times on the podcast. We know that he likes to schedule those games too. What's been your favorite one since you've been able to play there for a few years now? You've traveled for games, you've had teams come to you. What game stands out as a good memory?
Honestly, I would say it was the Mater Dei game this year. I think just in the years past, especially knowing Jimmy and Thomas and playing them when they played at Notre Dame, and then playing with them during the club, and then being able to play Mater Dei this year, who we've lost to twice in the past, and then we were down in the fourth quarter. I think it was like 13-8, and we were able to come back. I thought that was a really good win for the program, and it was really special for me. I just thought it was a really good game in general. And it was really good to see our team that finally come together and just play together as one.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was we talked about it when we recapped it on one of our episodes here. That I thought that was the if not the one of the best high school games I've seen out here. So that was really exciting to watch that game, and I had a feeling that might be the answer to that one. But
Yeah, definitely game of
uh,
the year so far.
yeah. So that was great. So going back a little bit, and I think we'll try to go into even more history, but I want to actually ask a question because I had the chance to coach you on Scottsdale United. You were the first team that I helped coach with when I came out here to Arizona with Pat. And there's a few players on that team, Charlie McGinnis, Eric Wolfson, who you're playing with now at Brophy. And, when you guys were playing back then in eighth grade, these other years, did you always feel and have a goal that like we're going to have a really great lacrosse team in the future and we're going to be able to win a state championship? And did you feel like you were going to be able to have the personal success you have?
I think, at least from my perspective, my goal at the time was to get into Brophy because obviously Brophy is a private school. You have to apply. There's a lot of different tests and interviews you have to take. So my goal was just to get in. And I wasn't really thinking too much into the future and what it would hold. But when I got to Brophy, our first season came around. We played a few tournaments in state, and I didn't play at all. So I expected not to play throughout the entire freshman season. I thought I was just going to sort of just ride bench, be a sort of a role player. And then season rolled around, and I was able to work my way up to a starting spot. And my goal from then on was just to do my best, and whatever happens, just try my hardest and give it my all. So those expectations, there wasn't really too many expectations, but I know with Charlie and Eric for sure, all of our goals were obviously to start our freshman year. Charlie was able to start. Eric worked into being a good role player for the team, and I think it was just very unexpected, like what our future would hold with now us, all three of us going Division One. I think that's a pretty remarkable feat and very cool for all of us.
How did you first hear about lacrosse?
Growing up, my best friend was originally from Canada. His name
Okay.
is Chase Morier.
Oh, yeah,
You
know him
guys might
well.
know
Uh-huh.
Chase.
Hey,
Yeah.
Chase.
And his grandfather came and visited us, and he brought Chase some lacrosse sticks for his birthday. And Chase actually gave me one of the lacrosse sticks, and then I think this was probably his like seventh birthday. And ever since then, I just started playing lacrosse. I loved it. My mom went online and saw the Cactus Cobras like little clinics that they did, and I started off there. And ever since then, I've loved it.
That is fantastic. And, lacrosse is fun, games are fun, but, most of your time spent at practice. What would you say your favorite drill is at practice? And then what's the one drill you wish that, Coach Harbison forgot so that you don't have to do that anymore?
My favorite drill is probably Bayhawk drill. I think
Okay.
it's just pretty fun. I mean, I'm a defender. I like to shoot, so it gives me a lot of opportunities to shoot. And then my least favorite drill, I don't really like when we do a lot of man down work, like 2-on-3, 3v2s and 4-on-5s and stuff like that. We do
Mm,
this one approach drill where there's five offense, there's four in a square, and then one on the center, and then four defenders, and they're moving the ball around. You have to approach from each like angle, and then you have to get back in and help too. I don't really like that one. It's pretty tiring.
right. No kidding.
Yeah, I think as a goalie, those odd man defensive drills were never really fun. That
You don't,
old
you
like
don't like
continuous
just
3-on-2
sitting and getting
drill.
shelled in cage, Brian?
Yeah, it's like you just get all these step down shots and like it's always a nightmare. But that's uh that's good there for and we know Coach Harbison obviously runs a pretty tight ship there. And we talk about Coach a lot just from our conversations. He's been on 2 episodes now, and obviously as a team you guys have had a lot of success. But thinking about that and thinking about stuff we haven't talked about, I'd love to give a little credit to his coaching staff there too. So you obviously get to work with Coach Tanner Ottenbright a lot, who was a talented defender from UVA as well. What can you tell us about Coach? How has he helped you in your game? And I don't know, you got any fun, embarrassing stories for him that we can put on the podcast here?
Um, he's helped me a lot throughout my career. It's mostly just he gives me a goal at the beginning of the year, whether it's to communicate better, uh, play less on ball with my stick, just stuff like that. And he really challenges me to just sort of grow my game. Like this year, he's been having me play. Typically, when I scoop up ground balls and pass the ball, I like to choke up a lot. I feel like it's a lot easier to scoop up the ground balls and pass, and he's challenging me to just play at the bottom of the stick, just be a little bit more comfortable with being uncomfortable. So he reminds me to do that a lot. And then not too many funny stories on Coach Tanner, to be honest. He keeps him pretty close to his heart.
Yeah, yeah. Tanner's a good guy. Do you know Tanner, Alex? You
I
met him?
don't know.
Yeah, he's a good guy. That whole staff over there. I went golfing with him. The first time I actually really met him, I went golfing, and it was golfing for my birthday. And let's just say this was pre Bryan finding his golf swing, and it was a rough go on the course, and I may or may not have broken a club on the 18th hole out of frustration. But we don't like to talk about it too much. But
It's
that
fine.
was his first experience meeting me too. Was yeah, golfing and me destroying a golf club on the last hole. So good times there. All right. So shifting back to you, Noah, and we talked a little bit about kind of your game there, and we mentioned in the intro that you're going to be going to Hofstra. Now you've had a little bit of a crazy switch in your college commitment. So can you kind of walk us through your process, like what happened and leading up to your original Lindenwood commitment? What was the decision making process when you kind of settled in that school, and then kind of just talk us through the whirlwind of things that happened to have you ultimately end up being a commit for Hofstra.
Yeah, for sure. September 1st rolled around. There's a few colleges that reached out. No offers or anything like that. And then I believe I put the fall out. And then Lindenwood reached out, had me come out for a visit. And there was a lot of factors going for Lindenwood. The financial cost, how close it was to my home, the coaching staff. If I was to go there, there'd be a good opportunity for me to play right away. Then obviously Andrew Rowe and Jackson Boop were going to be there as well, so that I'll know some people. And just overall, it seemed very appealing. And to be honest, I was just very tired of the recruiting process. So I thought it was a very good fit, and I was super excited for that to happen. I verbally committed for a year, went to signing day, and then on our trip up to Vegas in December, the head coach texted our group chat and said, "Hey guys, just wanted to let you know that this is very unfortunate. I had no idea this was coming, but we just got told that the program will be shutting down. I'd like to hop on a Zoom call and talk about it more." So I found that out on the way to Vegas with no reception. Eric Wolfson was in the car with my parents, and that was just a very weird and unexpected time. I just started calling Coach Pat. I reached out to my Cali Gold coaches, my West Coast Stars coaches, had them start reaching out to schools and like seeing what the next steps were. Then during that tournament, I got hurt, and I was trying to play well. I was hurt with a hurt hamstring, so that was unfortunate. Coach Pat got some coaches out there to come watch me, and I was hurt, so that was also another adversity thing that I had to go through. And then Hofstra and Manhattan reached out, and both they told me to come out and visit. I flew out to New York, visit Hofstra. I was supposed to visit Manhattan the next day, but I loved Hofstra, and I decided to commit there on the spot that day.
That's pretty crazy. I couldn't really imagine that feeling. You commit, you're sort of set and thinking that that's where your next 4 years are going to be, and then kind of gets flipped upside down. I mean, I guess the positive is it happened before you got there, so at least you can kind of get your full 4 years fresh at a program. And Hofstra, I've talked about it on the broadcast and stuff. My dad went to Hofstra; he's an alumni there. He would not want to call him the Hofstra Pride. He still calls him the Hofstra Flying Dutchman. So I've joked about that, and obviously. I don't know if you just mentioned it, but Charlie McGinnis also going there and a Hofstra commit. So did you know, like, did you talk with Charlie about that when you were kind of making that decision? Who kind of decided first? And then how's that like knowing now that you're going to be going there with a kid you've played with for a long time?
Yeah, obviously once that happened, Matt being Charlie's dad and Charlie reached out, and they were talking about Hofstra. They reached out to Hofstra for us. And once they heard we were going on a visit, Charlie sent me about 300 pictures of the entire campus, just trying to tell me everything that he loved about the school. And Matt was a really big advocate for Hofstra, obviously. And I was talking to Charlie throughout the day on the visit, telling him I really liked it. I think I'm going to commit. I'm not really sure though, because I have my visit with Manhattan tomorrow, and I don't know what the right decision is. But getting to know the coaching staff was probably the best part of my visit. Steph Tierney is an amazing person, and he feels like a very genuine and heartwarming person. And that was pretty much what sold me, to be honest. I'm very excited to go play for him.
That's awesome. Are you rooming together? Have you talked about anything like that or figured that out yet?
Me and Charlie were planning to room together, but Coach broke us up. We're in the same suite, but we have different roommates.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool if you've got like the suite structure there. I went with I played growing up with Ryan Malloy, a player who was at Ward Melville, played with and against me for most of my career. Our dads were actually best friends and played in high school together. And we both ended up going to Tufts, and we ended up rooming together, which was good because then you sort of knew somebody right away and had friends when you did it. But yeah, good old Hempstead over there. It's going to be a little bit of a culture shock coming from Arizona for you. I mean, not just the weather, but we might have to get you some extra hair gel or something so you could fit in with the Long Island Guidos over there. And I'm allowed to say that as a Long Island Guido myself.
Yeah,
Uh,
Charlie though, I'm very excited to just be going to school with Charlie. Charlie's been one of my best friends since growing up, and I feel like the fact that we are still able to play together after all this time is really cool, and I'm just very excited for what the future holds for us.
Dude, I'm excited for you. That sounds awesome. My Chase Morier, Matthew Freeze, and the guy that kind of invited me out to a practice and gave me a lacrosse stick was actually my college roommate too, and he actually it's kind of a funny story. He actually wasn't recruited to play at GCU, but was my college roommate, and we planned on kind of just going to school there. He planned on just kind of going to school there, and I think fall ball went by and something happened with one of our backup goalies. They'd gotten hurt, so he kind of walked on and made the team as a goalie. So I ended up rooming with a guy that I grew up with too, and it's a really cool thing to be able to just have a rock in college in a state and somewhere where you're unfamiliar with, and someone that kind of knows you know what I mean? So like you going all the way out to Long Island, New York, at least you have a little piece of home with Charlie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Who would you say the toughest player to cover at practice is, and then who's the toughest cover in the league?
At practice, I would probably say it's Eric Wolfson.
Yeah,
Eric, just with his size,
he's
he's
just
so
big.
good
Yeah,
at
he's tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
he's so good at getting into you and creating space. And he's been working on his lefty, which for a
Mm,
while I could just force him to his left and he would just feed the ball and he would turn into a feeder. You wouldn't
yeah.
really have to worry about him shooting too much with his left hand. But he's been in the lab working on his left hand, so he's been definitely getting a lot harder to guard. And then outside the league, oh, that's a probably a difficult one. I would want to say Dylan Finder probably. To
Wow.
be
Ah,
honest,
the second one.
That's two people who've said Dylan, which is I don't know if you've listened to earlier, but yeah, Jake Trailer, another LSM, had the same answer.
I think just being at LSM, especially in Arizona too, you don't really get dodged on that much. And I feel like Dylan's one of the only people that will dodge a pull in the league, to be honest, if we're being honest. In state, I haven't really been dodged that much. That's why Dylan's the first person that comes to mind.
That's because me and Cody yelled at him when we coached him in Outlaws for a few years, and we just kept telling him, "Run by guys, man. You're like faster than everybody." Like, but that's good. That's what good for Dylan, man. I get Alex. How about that? Two requests. We had him on as a
Unreal.
interview also, and we were talking about it. But he'll be excited to hear that. That's good. So, kind of going back just real quick about when you started, and one of the things like, what would you give your success, or what would you give the most credit to your success? And then, kind of by extension, what advice would you be giving a young player who wants to follow in your footsteps and play for Brophy and go commit to go play Division I lacrosse?
I think for me, like the biggest thing is just hard work. If you want it, you can accomplish whatever you want. For me, obviously, I'm not one of the biggest people on the field for sure. And I've been told that I've been undersized and I probably wasn't going to make it to Division One. So I think that really drove me. And you can ask everybody around me. I was just working out all the time, just practicing my craft, just trying to get better. And then along with that, I played a lot of box, which helped me with my stick skills, especially early on in my development. I think being as a pole and being able to have good stick skills is very important, and box really helped me for that. I mean, obviously, you can get that by doing other things. That was just the easiest for me. And I think just working hard, for me, you can ask Coach Pat on this one. I would send to my workouts. I was working out like 3 times a day during the summer. I would run the mountain, do sprints at the top, do cardio again. I would go to the gym. I was just always being active and watching lacrosse, and just trying to grow each and every day, I think is the most important thing.
You're a
Yeah.
lefty, right, Noah?
Yes, sir.
What's the most like inconvenient thing as, just going through life as a left-handed person?
I mean, probably the most inconvenient thing is writing because whenever I write, my hand gets really dirty from all the lead.
Right.
So that's
Left
pretty
to right.
inconvenient.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then at practice, Coach Pat usually has us do stick skills, where we'll be drilling righty for about 20 minutes, and then we'll stay on lefty for about 2 minutes. So that's not my favorite thing that we do, but gotta accommodate the righties for sure.
Have you ever? This is kind of a random question. I was just thinking about that practice coach. I know. I know Coach Harbison sometimes, especially in the off season, likes to throw a helmet on and gloves and like shoot around with you guys and everything. Have you ever really like tried like playing defense against them, like 1-on-1, and like beat them up a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. Playing Coach Pat's probably one of my favorite things I do. I think he's very competitive, and so am I. So it's pretty fun for when he gets out there. I think his game's definitely adapted from my freshman year. My freshman year, he was out there just all speed, and now he's sort of playing the old sort of pick up, old school, just getting into your body and just posting you up.
Yeah, I feel
It's
like that's an age
slower.
thing. Yeah, I was gonna say that's how I play too.
Well, I think his game has evolved as he's I've been there for 4 years. It's like, yeah, that'll be you one day too, Noah, when you're playing. Like,
I love that answer, by the way.
30, over 40.
I like to think of myself as evolved as well, so
yeah,
appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Great. That's great. All right, so just changing gears here for the end, just kind of some fun thoughts we like to kind of ask everybody. So when you're not, you talked about how you train a lot and you're practicing and on the field a lot. But when you're off the field, if you're doing something that's not lacrosse related, what is it you're typically up to? What are your off the field hobbies?
I mean, I'm a pretty simple person. I like eating a lot, so I'll go to restaurants a lot. And then throughout the week, I'm pretty exhausted. So then on the weekends, I like to sleep in a lot. But besides that, I'll go play golf with my friends or hang out with my girlfriend on the weekends, just hang out with family. Most of the time, it's just resting though, just recovery.
So
which is probably a little bit lacrosse related, but.
So being a food guy, if you got a friend coming in from out of town, what are your kind of top 3 restaurants you're recommending?
Well, obviously, if you're not from Arizona, the Mexican food's probably not too good. And I'm a pretty big Mexican food guy. I would say you go to Ocho. It's really good. It's by my house. It's really hard to get into though.
Okay.
And then I don't know. I feel like I like a good burger, and I would have to say I like this place called Hofstra by my house. It's really good as well. And then my final one, I love Asian food too. So there's this place called Moto by my house. I usually get orange chicken bowl from there. That's pretty good.
There you go. Well rounded.
There you go. Got some free ads for those restaurants too. Hit them up for representation.
Well, circling back here, since you did talk to Dylan, did you ask him who the best defender was or the person he's had the most trouble with?
That's a good question. I don't think we did. I think that was poor podcast hosting by us.
Yeah.
You remember, Alex?
No, but credit to Noah for bringing it up and keeping us accountable.
This is a work in progress for us, right? That was only our second. I think that he was our second one, right?
Yeah.
No, third one. He was our third, I think.
Yeah.
So but I tell you what, we'll get now that it's come up twice, we're gonna have to get a response for him. We'll have to post on Instagram. We'll do some live answer.
I like Instagram, that. Yeah, keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, you gotta do that for everybody. I feel like we gotta create a little bit more beef within the lacrosse community, a little bit of competition.
See, I'm trying to stir the pot, Noah. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
I like it. But that's great. This has been good. So last one here, and this was we both asked this sometimes. So who's in the locker? I know you guys got that nice little locker room spot there. You guys always got your warm up music going. Who's controlling the tunes in the locker room? Who's the aux cord guy?
Oh, this year it's been terrible. I mean, we have not found a person.
Talk about stir the pot.
Yeah, we've been trying out everything. Eric's been going. No offense to Eric. Eric does not have any tunes at all. We threw Coach Parker in there, Coach Dan. Well, they were throwing some old hits on us. I don't even know what they were playing. We haven't really found our person or a playlist yet. It's definitely a work in progress for us. We'll have to figure that one out.
Who's like the clown? Who's the guy who's kind of hyping everybody up or kind of keeping everybody laughing and keeping them laying loose when you're in the locker
room? I think it's probably, I don't know. That's a hard one to say. Hyping everybody up. It's definitely Braden Petzmeyer, the freshman on the sideline. He really brings the energy. He's very good at doing that. And then in the locker room, keeping everybody relaxed. I don't know. I feel like we're all pretty relaxed as it is, and we're just focused on the game. Everybody's not too relaxed. We're just focused. So I don't think we're too relaxed. But if I was to say anybody, it'd probably have to be like Harrison. Harrison always says some pretty funny stuff before we go out on the field. And I think it gets the boys a little relaxed before the game, but focused still.
There you go. Shout out.
I like it.
Yeah.
Noah, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate you, sharing some insight and stirring the pot a little bit. I always appreciate that. Bryan sometimes plays a little too political for my taste. He likes to make everybody happy, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, I definitely like stirring the pot. I like a little bit of trash talk when I play. You can ask some of the players in state. I like to run my mouth a little bit. I think it makes it more interesting.
What's the most creative chirp that you've received this season? And who is it by?
I'll be honest. Nobody really chirps me that much. I just like to chirp other people. I think it's fun. But probably the best one was Jimmy Douglas from Modern Day was chirping me about going to Hofstra the entire game. And I thought that was just a funny chirp. But
what's wrong with going to Hofstra?
That's what I was saying. I was telling him he wasn't committed the entire game. But it was a fun little friendly battle. It was good.
Love it.
That's good. We like it. And I'll get you some good Hofstra hot spots for you to check out when you make it up that way. But
for sure. Thank you.
That's good. Well, as Alex said, thanks for joining us today. This was really great. We got a little longer of an interview than we've usually done before, and I think that really helped it kind of flow. And we really appreciated your candid answers and feedback here. So thanks for joining us, Noah. And then who do you got? You said you got a week off, I think, before you guys play again, right? You got some time?
Yes, sir. We play Curtis Monday, I believe.
All right. Well, rest up, get some recovery, and looking forward to watching the rest of the season with you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Thank you for tuning in to episode 4 of the AZ Lax Report. Keep the comments coming, guys. We read every comment and DM on Instagram. If you guys have suggestions that you want to see in future episodes, please let us know. You can follow us at AZ Lax Report. With that, we'll catch y'all next week.